Ukrainian lives have been changed utterly since late February 2022. But for the refugees, life must go on.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Olivia.
I think this documentary offers an alternative to a lot of the news stories that have been in the media since February. I liked how it focuses more on the support that the refugees are getting, and obviously focusing on the impact of the war as well on their lives and in terms of uprooting them. I did find that some of the questions were a little intrusive to the refugees, but I think it's a good starting point as a documentary as far as showing the impact on individual families and people's lives of war, not just in Ukraine, but even around the world where it's happening.
This was an absolutely amazing piece. It's no small feat and no insignificant work of journalism to be on the ground doing this, getting this footage and speaking to the families. It was absolutely just gut wrenching to hear and see their plight. And for that reason, I think it's also important that we do watch a piece like this and do get as many eyes on it as possible because things have not cooled down in that part of the world, and the more attention, the better. So, I mean, for that reason alone, I'm glad this piece exists. But overall, I thought it was really thoughtfully put together. It's just a really good documentation of what's going on there. The eyes on the ground don't lie. So, great work.
This documentary was incredibly moving, and I was in awe with how much ground the filmmakers were able to cover when this is a war that is still raging to this day. It is no small feat to go into a war-torn country and interview refugees and shine a light on what they've been through and what aid has been able to help them. I think it was a different side of the war that I haven't seen before, and I think a lot of us lose focus on because it is such a tragic event. But just to see these refugees sort of get the help they need and while they suffer this terrible tragedy. The questions were well thought out, and they were very eye-opening. It's not something I would ever be able to read about, but being on the ground and actually talking to these people face to face gave us new answers as an audience, and it was a new perspective that I'm really glad I saw.
It is really incredible that you're telling these stories and, having a boots on the ground interview with these different families and different people in Ukraine while the war is still going on and very prevalent. So I really want to commend you for doing that and bringing light to these individuals and, reminding the world that, hey, this is still happening. This is still really scary, and these people are dealing with this on a daily basis. It was really humanizing, and it really looked at what's going on today and serves as a reminder that this isn't over, and these people are still fighting, and they're still suffering at the same time. It's this really difficult caveat that I think you highlight really well. I can't imagine what it must be like over there and being able to go over there at all and tell this story. I really want to commend you for that. It was put together really well, and I think it was a reminder that a lot of people need to see right now. So I think it was very well done.
This documentary is something that I think should be shown around the world, maybe on the public broadcast stations or even a news special to see what exactly it is like to be a refugee, especially these Ukrainian ones. I don't think anyone knows why Putin fully decided to invade, why he decided it was a good idea to invade the Ukraine. It's a mystery to all of us who, and probably even the people in the Ukraine, of why Putin decided to suddenly do this. It's horrific. This shows from a refugee's point that their entire lives were uprooted, that they're in this new country. They're having to live in tents while praying for the war to end so they can go home. To show children makes it especially heartbreaking. It's something that, like I said, people need to see what it's like to be an actual refugee living outside of your own country in tents. Because there's a lot of buzzwords about refugees, and people don't really know fully what they are. This documentary would actually show what a refugee is. So I think it should be shown just to understand more of what's going on, what's happening. It did get repetitive because with the common sense notion that war is not for children or any other living thing, that probably only needed to be stated once, because it's common sense. War isn't healthy for anyone, and we all know it, yet throughout human history they've always existed. Maybe one day we'll be better.
Ukraine War, The Eyes of the Refugees, is both a tragic and eye-opening documentary that gives us a look into the lives of some of the refugees that have been affected by this war. One of the most devastating things that stuck out to me was specifically when they asked the kids about school. We are still in the middle of a global pandemic, and even with that, I have seen how hard the world was hit in terms of education. A lot of students struggle because that assistance that they would have received in person was much harder to get through Zoom. It helped, but it was much harder for a lot of children. And you take that and you add the element of war. These children will be forever changed, and I can never see them going back to a normal life after this. This is something that will stay with them forever, and I think that's what hurts the most about this documentary, is just talking to these families and just that realization that their lives will be permanently changed by this.
Ukraine war, I thought this was really, really powerful. Their access was really, really amazing with showing exactly what these refugees are, walking into as soon as they've left their home country, and really what the conditions are like and how it's affected everybody in the country, and not just in the country, not just in Ukraine, but also in these other countries that are now having to host an influx of refugees and having to set up these camps and having to set up something to help these people, and then seeing the impact that it has on absolutely everybody. Families get separated, and some people are still fighting and stayed in Ukraine, and other people are fleeing, and you have little kids and mothers and grandparents, and it's not just there was a war and then everybody fled. It's more complex than that. And, you know, getting to see exactly what's going on and what these people are walking into and how they're trying as best they can to have supplies for them and comfort the kids and make the transition as easy as possible and do what they can to help out is really amazing and inspiring. And it just goes to show that humanity can rally, and that when, you know, a war happens, the impact isn't just the people that are fighting. It's so much more than that, and it's such a, you know, catalyst to all of these different people that are involved and have, you know, now have to change what they're doing and have to show up. And it's really powerful and serves as a great reminder why we should all work a little bit harder to help those when we can, but also to maybe find better other ways than out and out war to deal with these kinds of conflicts.